Good morning. I am Perry Montrose, Director of Faith Formation at All Souls, and I am joined by Karen Ethier-Waring, who guides us on this spiritual journey and shares her reflection this morning. We are ever grateful for Tammy's visual artistry and Jesse Edwards' expertise in weaving together the elements of our worship. On this ordinary yet magical morning, we invite you to step into beauty and open yourself up to the possibility of awe. Welcome to All Souls, where all souls are welcome. You are joyfully called to worship. Please shine the light of your voice at home by joining Carolyn and Caitlin in singing our opening hymn, Come, Come, Whoever You Are.
Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving, ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yet again come. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving, ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yet again come. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving, ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yet again come. Come, come, wherever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving, ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yet again come.
Each week, we light a chalice, the symbol of our faith, and we ask a guest to join us to help pass the flame. So this morning, please join Nora in saying, Nora and the fireflies in the field behind her, in saying our chalice lighting words.
May the light of this flame remind us that the universe buries strange rules deep inside each one of us and sits back and waits for us to find them.
And as we've been doing each week, we light a candle of gratitude. We light this candle of gratitude for the warmth of summer that gives us unique opportunities to enjoy the great outdoors, where we may notice the magic of the natural world. As our anxieties and frustrations ebb and flow, we are grateful for the ever-present beauty of nature and the wonder it inspires in us. This morning's theme is ordinary magic, and fireflies have become a through thread for some of our services this summer. And our children's story or poem this morning is called Firefly by Jacqueline Woodson.
It's almost May, and yesterday I saw a firefly. You don't see them a lot in the city, sometimes in the park, in the near dark. One comes out, you'll hear a little kid shout,
Lightning bug, firefly.
It's almost May, and yesterday I caught a firefly in my hand. First firefly I'd seen in a long, long time.
Make a wish, Miss Edna said. Make a good one. Firefly wishes always come true.
Today's reading from Mary Oliver. If you suddenly and unexpectedly feel joy, don't hesitate. Give into it. There are plenty of lives and whole towns destroyed or about to be. We are not wise and not very often kind, and much can never be redeemed. Still, life has some possibility left. Perhaps this is its way of fighting back, that sometimes something happens better than all the riches or power in the world. It could be anything, but very likely you notice it in the instant when love begins. Anyway, that's often the case. Anyway, whatever it is, don't be afraid of its plenty. Joy is not made to be a crumb.
Thank you, Perry. Something amazing happened a few months ago. The weather had been cold and gray for months. The trees were rigid and bare. It was subtle, but sometime in March, if you squinted your eyes, you could see hints of color in the distant treetops. A few days and a little sun, and the colors grew stronger. Mauves and muted greens became bolder and more present. And before you knew it, there were tassels on the maple trees and a chorus of birdsong at sunrise. If you blinked, you might have missed the tender green leaves emerging and dandelions popping up in the grass. In the evenings, peepers sang their love songs in bogs. It was magical. Did you notice? And by magic, I mean something that produces remarkable results, especially when not fully understood. All right, so that was the definition from WordSense Dictionary online. You see, I went looking in books for definitions to give myself permission to use the word magic for something so ordinary. In the fourth stanza of the poem, Sometimes, Mary Oliver provides 3 instructions for life. And the first one is to pay attention. The way the world comes alive in spring, or alive in a cold and brilliant way after a snowstorm. Lightning bolts and thunder, the smell of lilac and jasmine, swarms of screaming cicadas this year. Fireflies, blue jays who went from ugly bald blobs to demanding adolescence over the course of a month. The loyal and steady rhythms of the tides. How many ways does the universe sing to us, wake up, this is amazing? Or to be more ordinary, if somebody wrote a story about it, we'd say, impossible. But impossible things happen every day. Mary Oliver's second instruction in that stanza is to be amazed. I think Henry Miller described it perfectly when he said, The moment one gives close attention to anything, even a blade of grass, it becomes a mysterious, awesome, indescribably magnificent world in itself. In the book Awestruck, psychologist Jonah Piquette describes some scientific observations of the human brain in a state of awe. Unlike many other positive emotions that activate pleasure-focused parts of our brain, awe appears to activate regions associated with interpersonal bonding and the release of the hormone oxytocin, which is linked to feelings of warmth, closeness, and connection with others. Another study showed that a state of awe turns down the activity in the parietal lobe, which contributes to our sense of self. Now, that might not sound good, but a decrease in activity in that area of the brain softens a sense of boundaries between one's self and others, thus creating a sense of connection and oneness. And while the science of psychology is having positive results, folding in psychedelics into therapy, creating that same sort of sense of oneness, awe has very few, if any, side effects, and it's almost completely within your control. It's also free. We all need a break from that constant self-awareness, self-monitoring, and worry about what others are thinking. It's a refreshing respite when we remember the interconnected web and feel fully at home in the world, even if only for a few moments. So much for being amazed. Mary Oliver's final instruction is tell about it. Now, it comes perfectly natural for some of us to go on and on about the smell of the lilacs or the color of the sky, but I know poetry is not for everyone. Also, I don't think that's really what she meant. When my brother and I were little, our father had a friend named George who would visit once or twice a year. Now, to our 5-year-old and 6-year-old eyes, George was kind of old and he was shy. He'd never had kids, but he had figured out how to connect with us anyway. He always had candy, which earned him a lot of points, but he also played this blackbird game, which made us love him. So he'd put 2 pieces of electrical tape on his fingers, like so. Take note. You don't have to write it down. It's easy. And here's the game. 2 little blackbirds sitting on a hill, one named Jack and one named Jill. Fly away, Jack. Fly away, Jill. Come back, Jack. Come back, Jill. Amazing! Magic! Real magic. Not really. One of the best parts of those magic tricks that adults do for children is that kids know they'll be able to figure it out eventually. And then they'll be able to do the trick for other people, and they'll be amazing. The magic is more about that sense of delight and connection and a little bit of mischief. So ordinary magic of human relationships is also simple, right? Or sometimes it can be. We so often overthink our way into isolation, especially from those most dear to us. But there's a little magic we can do to enhance those connections. Keep it simple. Spend time in nature together. Tell someone a love story about themselves. I love that face you make when you're watching the football game. Or you have the most amazing smile. Or maybe, how could I forget how much I love you? All right, sometimes that's too hard. But how about that magic trick? Or a chuck in the arm? Or ask a child to hold your hands and eyes for just a second. You might have nicknames that keep you connected. My mother called me Pumpkin. I bet there are other pumpkins out there. Or a secret handshake. Before bed each night at my house growing up, we'd always say, "Good night, sleep tight, don't let the bed bugs bite." That's before bed bugs had reemerged. It drove us crazy if somebody refused to say that little rhyme because it was our bedtime incantation. We knew we were known and loved, and that we'd wake up tomorrow and we'd do it all over again. You have these types of rituals in your life. We all do. But sometimes we don't notice them or we forget. We go numb and disconnect from ourselves, from each other, and the earth. But there are so many doors to reawakening to sacred connection in and among all of life. So pay attention. Allow yourself to be delighted and awed. Then tell each other about the magical discoveries you make every day. Expand your capacity for wonder. Look for the reminders all around you. Take some time to be quiet or to be playful, ridiculous even. Sometimes that's the best. Wake up your friend or neighbor who may have drifted into a stupor of despair or simply automated living, and then ask them to do the same for you when you get that blank look in your eye. Give yourselves over to the fundamental mystery of ordinary magic. May it be so, and abracadabra. This morning, I had the delight to collaborate with Caitlin on singing the Joni Mitchell's song, Morning Morgantown. I am even more delighted to dedicate this song to our beloved friend, George Fargo, who joins us this morning from Maine. Today is his 90th birthday, so we dedicate this song to you, George.
When morning comes to Morgantown, the merchants roll their awnings down, and milk trucks make their morning rounds in morning Morgantown. We'll rise up early with the sun and ride the bus while everyone is yawning, and the day is young in morning Morgantown. Morning Morgantown, buy your dreams $1 down. Morning, any town you name, morning's just the same. We'll find a table in the shade and drink our tea and lemonade and watch the morning on parade in morning Morgantown. Ladies in their rainbow fashion, colored stop and go lights flashing, will wink at total strangers passing in morning Morgantown. Morning Morgantown, buy your dreams $1 same. I'd like to buy you everything, a wooden bird with painted wings, a window full of colored rings in morning Morgantown. But the only thing I have to give to make you smile and win you with are all the mornings yet to live in morning Morgantown. Morning Morgantown, buy your dreams $1 down. Morning any town you name, morning's just the same. Morning Morgantown, buy your dreams $1 down. Morning any town you name, morning's just the same. Morning's just the same.
Thank you, Karen and Caitlin, for that musical beauty. And happy birthday, George. And thank you, Karen, for telling us about it and bringing our attention to the magic and awe that connects us. I was amazed by the magic, and your reflection was an incantation. So thank you. Each week, we pause to pay attention to the joy or sorrow that we experienced in the week just past. There are two ways to share. One is by email to belovedcommunity@allsouls.net. Joys and sorrows that are received by 2 p.m. on Thursday are read aloud in the Sunday service. Also, right now, you can share by entering your joy or sorrow into the chat, where it will be witnessed and held by those gathered virtually here. As you type your joys and sorrows in the chat, Karen and I will light candles of intention for a minute of shared silence. Amen. We have very sad news to share that will come as a shock to many of you. Nell Udo died on Friday after a long illness about which she chose to be private. Be assured that Reverend Caitlin and Reverend Carolyn were present and able to offer care and support to Nell and her family. We are also grateful for the devoted care and friendship that Katrina Burkhaw generously offered these past months. Please join me in prayer as we hold in our hearts and minds all that has been shared. Spirit of light and life, during times when our mood is dampened and our hopes are dimmed, we call on you to draw our attention to the ordinary magic around us so we may reset our minds and recenter our souls. Help us to ground ourselves in that which roots us in the joys of earthly life, so our spirits are able to soar again. As we navigate a sea of uncertainty and an endless sky of possibilities, may our eyes find the horizon on which to balance our future. May we learn to find those jewels formed in the fire of existence that sparkle within us. They are made to be displayed with pride and reflect our light into the world, where we may share the magic around us and found in us. Amen, and blessed be. Please join Karen in singing our closing hymn, For All That Is Our Life.
For all that is our life, we sing our thanks and praise. For all life is a gift, which we are called to use to build the common good and make our own days glad. For needs which others serve, for services we give, for work and its rewards, for hours of rest and love, we come with praise and thanks. For all that is our life, for sorrow we must bear, for failures, pain, and loss, for each new thing we learn, for fearful hours that pass, we come with praise and thanks. For all that is our life, for all that is our life, we sing our thanks and praise. For all life is a gift, which we are called to use to build the common good and make our own days glad.
Please join me in saying our chalice extinguishing words. Our service has ended, but our work is not yet done. May our spirits be renewed and our purpose resolved as we meet the challenges of the week. Our chalice flame is extinguished until once again ignited by the strength of our communion.
As we've been doing for months now, I invite you to place a hand on your heart and to reach out to the community virtually gathered here. Go in delight.
Go out with curiosity and great expectations.
Go with a song on your lips and mischief in your eyes.
Go out expecting magic and tell about the strange jewels you discover along your way.
Go bring your own magic to this aching world. Go in peace and come again in great joy.
A couple of announcements before we enjoy the postlude. As ever, All Souls is grateful for your financial support. You can give via PayPal, Venmo, or by mail check. The giving links are in the YouTube description. A note, the eBlast email has changed. So anything you want to be in the weekly news, email it to eblast@allsouls.net. eBlast is just an eBlast, one word. Building Refresh volunteers are still needed for the next week. So check your eBlast to sign up. And if you have questions, get in touch with Reverend Mark Roble. Barbara Brockhurst's memorial service will be held this Thursday at 2 p.m. in Unity Hall. All are welcome. And last but not least, today at 11:30, Summer Fun and Games in the parking lot at All Souls, and it's the annual Veltheim obstacle course. Fun that cannot be missed. So I hope to see you there. And now please enjoy Bill's postlude. Thank you for being with us, and go in peace.